Oh, there it goes. Okay. I'm excited to take you guys through the platform. If there are any questions along the way, feel free to just let me know as we go. We can kind of tailor it to what you guys are interested in just to make sure that it's beneficial for each of you as possible. We'll start here on the NUVI landing page, which I'm sure looks familiar to almost all of you. The social listening tool is this first box here. So it's under monitors. Monitors is, like I mentioned, our social listening tool. So it's where we're able to pick up on conversations based on keywords, Twitter handles, and hashtags. From there we can pull in those conversations, run analytics, and then also run reports. So we'll go ahead and click into that. This drop-down menu is going to show us, first of all, what monitors have already been set up within the system. So depending on your property, Emily's created a monitor for your property. You also have the option to create a new monitor or a new topic based on different keywords or whatever conversations are important to you. You can do that here by clicking New Monitor. I'm going to go and click into, I believe it's this one, just for our purposes today. So the same screen can be accessed by clicking Edit Monitor. And again, this is where we'll enter in all of our search criteria and tell NUVI exactly what we're looking for. So this one is specifically for Henry Dearborn. So you'll notice that we have the Twitter handle in here and then various variations of the property name. Each keyword is separated by a comma. So this is going to represent the word or. Here we're looking for the Twitter handle Henry Dearborn or Henry Autograph Collection or Henry Hotel Dearborn. So it's just a way to separate those keywords and pull in all the different variations. A space is going to represent the word and. So in this example, we're looking for hashtag Ritz-Carlton and the word Michigan. So for NUVI to pull in a match of these keywords, both words would need to be mentioned within the same post. However, they can be in any order. And the last thing that I'll show you is the keywords with quotation marks surrounding both of them, or all of them. Quotation marks are going to act like glue. So here we're looking for an exact match of Henry Autograph Collection. It's a good way just to dial down into those keywords and make sure that all of the conversations that we're pulling in are relevant to our topic. The same rules will apply here in Ignore Mentions. This way you can eliminate irrelevant conversation. And then there's a how-to guide at the bottom as well for your reference as you get started. Are there any questions on this first part here, setting up the keywords?
Yes, this is Yogi from Wichita. So then we go in and put in the keywords that are going to be relevant, anything that we want to use to be able to capture the conversation. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. So you would go in and enter in keywords that are going to be specific for your property. So that could be things like we saw here, the Twitter handle, just the name of the property. You can enter in hashtags if there's any specific hashtags that are relevant to the property. And I mean, as long as you're getting it specific enough to make sure that it's relevant to the property, then I would enter in as many variations as you can to make sure you're not missing anything.
Is there a limit of what we can enter?
Great question. There's not a limit. No, so no limits to the number of keywords that you can enter in here.
Yogi, the couple things that I'll note about that, this is relevant for all of you because you're coming from branded properties. We want to make sure that you're pulling in stuff that's specific to your property, not just the brand. So for our DoubleTree properties, you don't just want to do the hashtag DoubleTree because that's going to pull in DoubleTrees from all across the globe. You want to make sure that it's as specific to your property as you can. So that case is the same with all of you. It's the Embassy property and the Intercontinental as well. So all of you are going to be kind of dealing with that the same scenarios that you're seeing here with the Henry Autograph Collection. You're all going to be experiencing at your branded properties as well. The one other note about that, Yogi, is that while there is no limit to the number of variations you can place in here, we are build based on the number of mentions that we receive in our monitors. So I think, what's our number for mentions? Emily, do you recall offhand?
I can pull it up real quick. Let's see.
So Yogi, once we
50,000.
reach, yeah, so we have 50,000 mentions, and that's for the entire portfolio to share. So this is a little bit more of an advanced tool that, of course, we've been with NUVI for almost a year now. So, you know, I'm opening it up to all of you as you've gotten more advanced in your strategies. But just be mindful of the fact that we are sharing this amongst our entire list of hotels that we have, and that we are, once we reach a certain level, we may encroach onto a next level of billing, just as a side note for that.
Okay. Now, Emily mentioned that, so we do the Twitter handle on here, which is like, can we also do like Facebook as well, the Facebook name? Or
That's a good question. For right now, and Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, for right now, Monitors only pulls in Twitter. Is that correct?
You can track by the Twitter handle. It will pull in Facebook data, but it doesn't necessarily track by the Facebook profile name, unless you're tracking it under all profiles. So you could track your Facebook profile here and pull everything in from your page. Does that make sense?
we need to do something different then, or?
So what I would suggest is I wouldn't worry about putting in maybe a Facebook profile per se up here in this first section. I would focus on the Twitter handle and then just different combinations of the name of the property, whatever matches that. And then I would come down here to this second section, which I'll show you guys next. It's track all mentions from these profile names. And here you can actually track your Facebook profile. So, I mean, I'm not sure what it would be, but you would type in whatever the profile name is, select Facebook, add it to your monitor, and then that way everything that's been posted from this profile will pull into your monitor. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great question.
Hey, Miss Emily, when we signed in and clicked on monitors to see what our keywords are, it says that we do not have access.
That's correct. Because because monitors has been something that we build our billing off of, I had up until now I had left it as a restricted option. So after this training today, I will go ahead and make that available to you so that you can go in and make those edits. Go ahead.
Once we have that, then we just click on monitors and it'll have somewhere that we click on that says add keywords or something, and that's where we go in and type in our keywords.
Yep, and Emily, can you take them through that process again, that click-through on the screen for how to navigate to it?
Absolutely.
Hi, Debbie, by the way.
Hello. Hello.
And I also saw Kelly join in on the call, so welcome in, Kelly.
Sorry I was late.
Oh, no bother at all.
So when you first log into the platform, this is the first page that you'll see. So the first thing you'll do is click into monitors. From there, the drop-down menu will show you if there's any monitors already set up in your access. So you can select one of those. To set up a new topic or set up new search criteria, you would just select new monitor. And then from there, you can start from scratch and start entering in your keywords that are relevant to your property or campaign. In an existing monitor, so kind of what we were doing just now, you would just come down, select the property, and then if you click Edit Monitor, it'll take you to the same screen. So that way you can make edits or adjustments to any existing monitors.
So I have a question. Is this will take the restaurant information as well, or do you have to create one for the restaurant and one for the hotel?
So you could do either. Emily, I'm not sure what we decided on. You could do one where you could include all of the keywords for both the hotel and the restaurant. But the nice thing about NUVI is it's really flexible. So even if you wanted to segment those out, you could set up one specifically for the hotel and then one for the restaurant.
Yes, so I believe, just to offer clarity, Emily, yes, we did decide to leave those companies as one. So Yogi, you would get one set of monitors for whole property, inclusive of the DoubleTree and Legends. So as you, I'm not sure how we have it listed. I put the screen share down so I could pull attendance, but for the for here with the Henry, actually, you know what? With monitors, you can have multiple monitors per company, correct, Emily?
Exactly. Yeah, you can have as many monitors as you'd like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then Yogi, that's entirely up to you. It would just mean that you'd have to switch between one dashboard and the other to engage with any of those postings that you see. So it's really just a matter of what your preference and comfort level is.
Well, if they're both on the same one, is it going to be easier to tell which one, what goes where, or is, I mean, that's why I was just thinking if it's separate, you know, but if they're on the same, to looking at the data.
No, that's a good point. It will kind of just show an encompassing view of the analytics if they're both in the same monitor, which could be nice just to give you a sense of the overall presence for the hotel and the restaurant combined. But kind of speaking to your point, I think there are definitely situations where it would be nice to see analytics for the hotel, analytics for the restaurant almost separately. So, I mean, even if you did something where you have one where they're all combined just to get a comprehensive view of the conversation, and then you set up two separate ones, one for the hotel, one for the restaurant, then you could really isolate it, and then all the analytics would be specific to one or the other.
Okay.
That was a great question. Because then, I mean, from there you can even compare. I mean, you could look and see, like, different influencers speaking for if they're the same or if they're different. So I think there's value in having both. Awesome. Any other questions up to this point? All right. So we went over keywords. We talked about tracking profile names. The last thing that I'll show you as far as criteria, you can also enter in web addresses to search for. So here we are looking for bhenry.com. So anytime this URL is shared on social or an extension of this URL, it will be pulled into the monitor as a mention. So it's nice because sometimes people may not say specifically in their post, maybe they don't mention the Dearborn, but they might share the link. So it just helps you to capture all of the conversation. And kind of speaking to Emily's point a little bit ago about the number of mentions, there is a trick that I like to use to see where I'm at when it comes to the number of mentions, just to make sure that we're staying within a reasonable data allowance. That button is a preview button, so you'll find it down here at the bottom. I usually click on it once I've entered in all my search criteria. It does two things for us. The first thing is it'll give us an estimation for mentions per month. So it gives you an idea of where you stand when it comes to the number of mentions and volume coming into the monitors. And the second thing it'll do is give us an estimation, or not an estimation, I'm sorry, a sample of mentions. So you'll start to see how your keywords were used on Twitter, and then just make sure they're relevant. You can make changes. But as long as everything looks all right, then I would go ahead and hit save. So one thing to keep in mind is that NUVI is going to pull in real time. So as soon as you hit save, it's going to start pulling in mentions as people are posting about it. The timeline is great. It'll give us, it'll let us know when those mentions were made at specific time periods. We'll start to see if there's been any spikes in the conversation. There is a drop-down menu to change the time period. So here we might look at the last 30 days. And all of the analytics here will be based on the last month of data. So here we have our total number of mentions for the period. We've got 334. We're going to see the reach and spread, which will give us an idea of how viral our topic was, and then sentiment to compare the positive versus the negative. And then from there we have a series of top 10 lists. It helps us to identify some key influencers. So we have our top influencers here. They're assigned a score that's similar to Clout. It ranges from 0 to 100, and those with a higher influencer score have a higher follower count. They're also very interactive with their audience, and they're posting pretty frequently. So messages that they're posting are reaching a broader or larger audience. We'll also be able to view trends within the conversation. So we've got trending hashtags, trending keywords. We'll be able to see what people are talking about in addition to maybe our hotel name. So that way it looks like we have hashtag wedding or hashtag venue. So then you understand the conversation more as a whole, which can help you as you develop new content, or if you're engaging in the conversation at all, just to know what's relevant to them. And then, of course, you're also beginning to see just which networks are receiving the most traffic. So you've got blogs and news and RSS feeds, and then Twitter is right below that along with Tumblr. Helps you to know where your audience is most active. Anyone have any thoughts or any questions on the overview page? Okay, perfect. Then we will go ahead and take a look at the feed. So the feed is going to act like our real-time social media inbox. It just means that our most recent mentions appear here at the top, and then they'll filter down. You do have the ability to filter the feed over on the left-hand side, so you can filter it by most spread, most mentioned. You can also filter by network. So we might choose to look at just our Twitter mentions. Over on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see trends. We've got trending hashtags, trending keywords, and then trending URLs. By clicking on the timestamp, it'll take you directly to the network. So if we were to click on it, it'll take us to Twitter, and we'll be able to see the original post. And you also have the ability to engage right from the dashboard. So you can like, you can reply or retweet right from the dashboard. Makes it easy to engage and stay connected with your audience. Are there any thoughts or any questions on the feed?
So when we retweet or reply to this, we don't have to put it in under or compose it for a posting, right? It'll just do it here and it'll automatically do it on the channels that we want it to go, or just respond to the channel that it's on? Exactly.
So that's a great question. So yeah, you can just insert in your text or reply right from here. And then I believe Emily has linked the majority of the accounts to NUVI already. So from there you can select the appropriate Twitter handle to respond from. Does that help answer your question? All right, any other questions on this page?
No, I just think it's really interesting.
The interacting with your audience part, staying connected that way?
Yeah, to have it so convenient. That's right. I like that.
Yeah, it is very convenient. I think it's a huge time saver too, because the alternative really is to be logging into Twitter or to the various social channels to view all of these posts, right? So it's kind of nice to have it all in one place to make that engagement pretty simple, and just have everything in one place.
Can you respond to Facebook in the same area with the reply and all that as well?
That's a great question. Facebook's API is a little bit tricky when it comes to, so basically the way that they provide data to users can be a little bit tricky. So there's not currently a way to respond to Facebook through the monitors, but hopefully we'll be working with them a lot closer moving forward. So hopefully that will become something that is available, but currently no.
Okay, thank you.
But what you could do in that case is that it still will come into this feed. You could just click on the timestamp. It'll take you right to that post, and then from there do some of your engagement. Great questions. Awesome. Anything else before we move to the next visualization? All right. So from here, we'll take a look at the stream. The stream is one of my favorite visualizations, just because there's a lot that you can tell just by looking at the stream. So each bubble represents a mention. Your most recent mentions appear here on the right-hand side, and you are able to click into these bubbles and view who the author is and exactly what they said. The size of the bubble represents reach, so a larger bubble, like some of these, it just represents those who have a larger follower count. And the sentiment is identified by the color. So green would represent a post with positive sentiment, red negative, and blue neutral. You can do your engagement from this view as well, so you'll see your buttons of engagement here. This link will take you straight to the network, just like the timestamp did on the feed. And you also have the option to adjust the sentiment. So for sentiment, we use what's called natural language processing, which identifies sentiment based on keywords. And for the most part, it does a really great job of identifying sentiment. However, it may miss some things like sarcasm or slang. So in those cases, you can come in here, adjust the sentiment, and it will change across all of your visualizations and the reporting. And similar to the feed, you do have the option to filter. So you can filter by network. You can also filter by sentiment. Any questions on the stream?
Emily, if we find that there is some weird regional colloquialism that messes up the sentiment, we experience this with reviews a lot, where somebody might say it was a wicked party and the algorithm reads that as negative, but it doesn't take into account that they're just from New England. Right. Is there a way for us to update that that sentiment?
So what I would suggest is maybe going into the search tab, and if there is a specific phrase like wicked, like you mentioned, you can go in here and just type in the word wicked, and from there you can mass change the sentiment. So from there you go in and change basically all of those posts that included that keyword.
Cool.
So you just select all, or you can individually select those, and then you have the option, just like you did before, to change sentiment. So set positive, set negative, or set neutral. So that's a huge time saver. Yeah, great question. Awesome. Anything else? Okay, from there we'll take a look at the map. So the map is really interesting. The map is going to take some of your geotagged locations and lay them out geographically. So anytime someone tags their location, we'll be able to see that here, which is always interesting to see kind of where those are coming from in a visual way. The way that the map works is very similar to the stream in that each bubble represents a mention. You are able to click on the mentions, see who the author is. You can do your engagement, just with the added bonus of seeing where they are coming from just on the map. So that's always kind of interesting. Some of my clients have kind of used it to see where campaigns gain traction. For you guys, it might be interesting to see where people are talking about your specific property, whether they're tagging it while they're at the property or if they're mentioning you at other times. So the map can be really interesting to take a look at. Any questions on the map? Okay, perfect. Then we'll take a look at the cloud next. The cloud is great if you're looking for maybe ideas on content creation, or you are looking just to better understand what people are talking about when they're talking about your property. I always go up here, change the time frame to whatever is relevant for you. You do have the option to look at not only trending keywords, but also trending concepts, emotional categories, trending hashtags, positive, negative, and positive, trending positive and trending negative terms, if I can speak. So it'll let you know how many occurrences of each of those keywords were included in the last 2 weeks. And if you click on one like world, your sample mentions appear on the right-hand side. So you can start to look through those and see maybe how they were mentioned, what people are talking about in addition to your property. Anyone have any questions on the cloud or any thoughts here?
Nope.
Then the last thing that I will show you is the reporting feature. So each monitor you can report on separately and individually. To do that, you'll come here to the overview page. You can click Generate Report, and you have the option to either schedule a report, which would automatically generate that report on a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis. You can also go in and generate a one-time report. You just name it, you'll select your time period, then you'll click Generate Report. And all of the reports will be found on the Reports tab. It will keep track of all of the reports that have been generated, and the most recent the most recent report will appear here at the top. And once you click into it, you'll be able to view all of the pages of the report. It is completely customizable, so you can really tailor it to what you want to focus on for the report. As you hover over these paragraphs, you can click on the Edit button. You can change the wording or add your own insights, and then click Save. Your influencers will be viewable here, and you do have the option to click on the bubble. If there's a few of them, you can delete that and display the most relevant influencers. It'll give you sample mentions, those with the most reach. You'll notice that these are editable as well. And all of the links within the reports are live, so you can click on Twitter handles or links and be directed straight to the source, which is nice. Sample mentions can be removed. Occasionally there'll be a few different options that you can filter through to, again, display what's most relevant. The last page here is going to show you your mentions, just so that you have an idea of what was said. You can display either 50, 100, or 200 mentions within your report. And over on the left-hand side is your table of contents, which allows you to hide pages and also rearrange the order of your pages. So it gives you a lot of control as to how you're displaying this information. And then it can be downloaded as a PDF, or it can be emailed right from the platform. Any questions on reports?
Yeah, hi, this is Debbie at Embassy Suites. So since this is new, if we're going into reporting, I mean, what would be, like, taking baby steps, what would you suggest as what you would put in as a criteria for the main report that you want to see? Is there a...
Yeah, that's a great question.
I mean, until we can get into this and really start playing with it, I mean, what would you put in as criteria to run a simple report that would give you some really good information?
I think that a great place to start is to start with your hotel. And so, I mean, because from there you can start to see kind of where you guys are when it comes to your social presence. You'll be able to see kind of what the volume is, so how many people are already talking about you, what they're saying. You'll be able to look at the positive and negative sentiment. So I think we like to call it a brand monitor, but for you guys it would just be the name of your property, hashtags that are specific to your property, and also the Twitter handles, things like that. I think that is a great place to start. I mean, from there you can kind of branch out. You can track competition if you'd like. You can track industry type terms just to kind of get an idea of what people care about within the industry in general. So you can start to get a little bit more creative as you go. But to answer your question, I think a great place to start is really with just tracking the hotel, see where you're at, and start to analyze kind of what people are already saying about your hotel, and maybe where you want to steer that conversation.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Awesome. Is there anything else? Any other questions? All right. Well, I'm excited to hear how things go as you guys get started. I'm happy to help if you guys have any questions. Emily, is there anything else that you think would be beneficial to go over while we're here?
No, not that I can think of right now. Team, all of you who are on the call should have already received an email from me that I've updated your permissions. And Julia, you should have gotten an invitation to the Intercontinental St. Paul. So as you go through this process, as always, if you're having any difficulty or you have any questions, especially for setting up monitors for the first time, when I initially did the ones for the Henry, I sat on the phone with Emily Clark and we went through it step by step together. So please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Emily, and one of us will gladly sit down and go through that process with you. This is a lot of information, and Debbie, to your point, take baby steps. This is a lot to take in, so I'm not expecting you to, get it gung-ho the first time. Please reach out to us as resources as you go through this process.
Okay, sounds good.
And then I did also see Kelly at the DoubleTree in Charlottesville. You have joined the call as well, correct?
Yes, I did. Sorry, I was late.
Oh, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and update your permissions as well, so just expect an email to come through from me. So the next time you log into NUVI, you will be able to update the monitors as we've discussed today.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. So yeah, Emily, nothing else that I can think of. Team, any last minute questions from anybody out there in the field?
No, thank you.
No, thank you, Emily.
We're after lunch. We're going to go ahead and put in our keywords, see what happens.
You have fun, Debbie. You give me a call if you have any
Oh,
questions.
I'm going to have a ball.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, it was great meeting all of you, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you,
bye.
Emily and Emily.
Thank you all. Enjoy today.